According to this affidavit from the FBI, a Punta Gorda man threatened to shoot up a church in Memphis, Tennessee, and the attack was supposed to happen this Thursday. We'll have more for you coming up. Take a look. There are pages and pages of Cape Coral properties listed in that class action lawsuit. Jane, this story has been a hot topic in this neighborhood. People have been stopping us, asking questions, taking pictures of the sketches that we have. They want to know what these two men look like. So I want to show you those sketches one more time. Take a look. Something that was striking about those 911 calls is how neighbors describe just how much ground Ryan Cole covered that day while he was in this neighborhood. In fact, one of those 911 calls actually puts him near here at the intersection with Gates Avenue. A couple of nights ago, they heard a man knocking on this window right here on the side of their home. This is the car that Fort Myers police say is likely connected to the brutal shooting of Keon Upshaw. And this is the car that we watched officers impound earlier today in Alva, Florida. You know, Shari, we're all guilty of this, right? We're walking around with our faces buried in our phones, but Cape Coral police tell us that they're seeing entirely too many students doing this while crossing busy streets. And they say they want them to stop. Linda LaRoche's arrest comes almost 20 years to the day that Peggy Johnson's body was found in a field in Wisconsin. Neighbors tell me she was carried from her home in handcuffs earlier this week.
We're all in a state of shock.
Disbelief in the Cape Friday.
I was coming on Tuesday to pick her up.
After canceled plans with a friend.
And I said, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And she said, "Yeah." But at the end of the text, she said to me, "Bye-bye."
Ends with them behind bars in connection to a 20-year-old murder case.
I don't know what to say.
On the other end of that conversation, 64-year-old Linda LaRoche. Wisconsin detectives say she brutally beat and killed a woman named Peggy Johnson back in 1999. The pair met at an Illinois medical center shortly after Johnson's mother died in the early 90s.
Peggy lived with LaRoche in McHenry for the last 5 years of her life. There, she suffered long-term and horrific abuse at the hand of Linda LaRoche.
According to detectives, LaRoche later dumped Johnson's body in a field in Wisconsin and eventually moved to Cape Coral. Local police say they were able to arrest her after someone called to say LaRoche had recently been bragging about the murder. But according to friends, LaRoche is claiming she's innocent.
She said she did not do it. She doesn't understand what happened.
Police are now working to extradite her back to Wisconsin. They're asking anybody who knows anything about this case to contact the Racine County Sheriff's Office. You know, Jane and Patrick, that decision was a pretty easy one for us to make here at Fox 4. In my piece tonight, you're actually going to hear and see some of the messages that Wade Wilson sent me over the last few days. You're also going to hear from an FGCU journalism professor who helped to break down the ethics behind our decision. Take a listen. It started with one on Saturday, and then the emails started to flood in. When those went unanswered, phone calls, all of them from Wade Wilson, the man now charged in the deaths of Diane Ruiz and Christine Melton.
The Lee County Grand Jury met today and returned an indictment against Wilson for 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder.
I spoke to him on the phone on Friday. He claimed he was innocent then, but did admit to being with both Ruiz and Melton in the hours before their deaths.
I did not commit these murders, and I'm innocent.
Fox 4 spoke with Wilson's ex-girlfriend, who has also told us that he has admitted to those crimes.
He admitted over the phone to me that he murdered, killed both of those women.
His frenzy of messages since then have all said the same thing. He wanted to talk to me, to Fox 4, and to share something, quote, career-making, but he wanted to be paid for that information. I told him I wasn't interested. He has since threatened to bring that offer to another news agency.
Journalists face murky ethical decisions all the time, but this isn't one of them. Checkbook journalism is pretty much frowned on, whoever you talk to.
FGCU journalism professor Lynn Milner says there are very strict and rare circumstances under which journalists would ever pay for information.
If it is going to do the public serious harm if you do not run with it, and if if you can corroborate it.
In this case, the decision was an easy one because it aligns with the ethics we practice here every single day, which include the following.
You want to be able to act independently. Remember that you serve the public. You don't serve a source or anyone other than the public, right? You're there for the public good. You want to minimize harm.
And in light of today's new charges, I reached out to Wade to see if he still stood by those claims he made on Friday. He told me he will not answer any more of my questions unless Fox 4 management pays up, and that's not going to happen. In Fort Myers, Rochelle Alleyne, Fox 4, in your corner.